Another psychotic, insane megalomaniac. Why don't you fucking edit the beginning, you silly Billy? Oh, Larry Fink again. A bunch of shit to shitter. Oh, know your place, dumbass. Can't read. God damn.
Good morning, everyone. It's really nice to be back here at Congress Hall. Hopefully everybody had a good day yesterday and are enjoying it today. It is my real pleasure to introduce Jensen Huang, who is somebody I admire, somebody I've watched, and somebody who has been a teacher to me on the journey of learning about technology and AI. It is amazing watching how he led NVIDIA.
How they were able to trick so much people into this empty mirage.
And I don't
That's
measure
impressive.
myself on comparisons.
Hello, like peasants.
With this one comparison. So since NVIDIA has been public, which was in 1999.
Wow.
Same year as BlackRock.
Wow. I was waiting for applauses.
Oh boy.
Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit, you stupid ass moron. You fucking out of touch, almost dead, 1 foot in the grave, dumbass.
It's been a compounded 30%, 37%. Just think about that. What would that mean to every pension fund if they invested in NVIDIA as an IPO? The amount of successes we have.
If some buds could.
At the same time, BlackRock's annualized total return has been 21%. Not so bad for a financial services company, but it certainly pales. And so that, but that is just a really great indication of Jensen's leadership, the positioning of NVIDIA, and also it is a great statement about what the world believes in the future.
Honestly, is that how you say that name?
Jensen,
I've never ever heard it like that.
We have many more years of that journey ahead of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My only regret was at the IPO, after the IPO, I wanted to buy my parents something nice. And so I sold NVIDIA stock at a valuation of $300 million. The company was at a valuation of $300 million, and I bought them a Mercedes S-Class. It is the most expensive car in the world.
Oh. Who gives a fuck, man?
Do they still have it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, they still have it, yeah.
Good. Let me go into the subject matter now, but I just want to say...
Who gives a fuck?
You know, the debate on
You're fucking up computers for everybody? You come on stage to talk about the most expensive car that you bought for your parents? What kind of asshole are you?
AI is about how it's going to change the world and the global economy.
Is it? Or that's what you're trying to make it?
How AI can add to the world economy, and how AI can increasingly become a foundational technology.
Is it?
That everyone in this room can be utilizing, enhancing our lives, enhancing the lives of everyone in the world.
I doubt that.
And we need to talk about how it's going to reshape productivity, labor, infrastructure, across virtually every other sector.
Oh, really?
But importantly, how it's going to reshape the world, and how can more segments of the world benefit from AI?
Be
and
reshaped.
How can we ensure that we have
the most reshaping,
economy, not a narrowing of the global economy. And I can't think of another person who has a clearer view on not just what AI is, but the infrastructure around it, the infrastructure that is necessary to build around it. And because
but that's
so many
not
of the
true.
major hyperscalers are utilizers of what NVIDIA creates, and the whole engagement around the infrastructure around AI, the potential of AI, I think we have a great voice to listen to this afternoon or this morning. So Jensen, once again, thank you. This is his first time.
But I'm so freaking confused. Are we just starting now? Is this the first time that we're talking about AI? Like, seriously, what the fuck? What happened last year? What happened the year before? Was it all a waste? Why are they still talking about the future? In the future is going to be worth something. In the future, if we pay so much money, is gonna be helpful. Like, what the fuck?
Here at the World Economic Forum in
You too?
Davos. And I
Hey.
know you have a really busy schedule, so it's, thank you for taking that time.
I appreciate that.
So let me go right into it.
Oh, don't worry. Nobody worth their fucking. uh, I don't know the expression. That has their right worth is gonna miss the fucking WEF. Are you crazy? Look at you. Look at this. Look at this watch. Pretty sure if I go on a watch circle jerk, if somebody is asking to identify what type of stupid ass watch you're wearing, that has to be a couple $100,000 because you are a fucking demon.
Why do you believe that AI has the potential to be that significant engine of growth? And what makes this moment, this technology, different than past technologies?
So here you just got to be careful because they are mixing up the AGI versus AI. The same thing as we saw yesterday. So he's going to answer, and his answer is what the philosophical AI would be. Nothing that exists right now.
Cycles.
Yeah, this is first of all, when you think about AI and you're interacting with AI in all these different ways, ChatGPT, of course, using Gemini, of course, using Anthropic, Claude, of course, and the magical things that it could do, it's helpful to
Why
reason back to the first
magical? Why magical? When they use these types of adjectives to qualify what it does, they're just trying to add to the mystique. They're just trying to add to the confusion. This is marketing. He's talking out of his asshole.
principles of fundamentally what is happening to the computing stack. This is a platform shift. A platform is something where applications are built on top of. And this is a platform shift like the platform shift to PCs. New applications were developed to run on a new type of computer. Platform shift to the internet.
Fuck you mean? PC, a new type of computer? Listen, applications over the internet are still applications running on a PC. It's just not yours. There's no revolutions here. This is so stupid. This is so stupid.
A new type of computing.
Really? Really? Shit. I didn't know. So you got your home computer, you got your internet computer, you got your application computer. They're all different computers, right?
Platform hosted all kinds of new applications. A platform shift to mobile cloud. In
Yes. Still different.
each and every one of these platform shifts, the computing stack was reinvented and new
Oh yeah, reinvented. Bro, he must think people there are stupid.
applications were created. This is a new platform shift in the sense that today you're using ChatGPT. It's important to understand that itself is an application.
Do you think that he got money from Sam Altman to say ChatGPT now? Because before he didn't mention all three of them, so there was some sense of equality, right? But he went all the way for ChatGPT here.
But very importantly,
Two hundred and fifty
new
thousand
applications
dollars.
will be built on top of ChatGPT. New applications will be built on top of Anthropic.
Yes, and applications are gonna be revolutionized. So they're not gonna be applications, they're gonna be future applications, which is completely different.
Claude, for example. And so it's a platform shift in that way. AI is really easy to understand if you realize what it
Yes, but can you see his confusion? This old piece of dried up shit.
can do that you could never do before. Software in the past was effectively pre-recorded. Humans would type and describe the algorithm or the recipe for the computer to execute. It was able to process structured information, meaning you've got to put the name, the address, their account number, their age, where they live. You create these structured tables that software would then go and retrieve information from. We call it SQL queries. SQL is the single most important
Bro, he's mixing a whole bunch of shit. You got software, database, bro.
database engine the world's ever known. Almost everything ran on SQL before now. Now we have
Yeah, but SQL is not an operating system.
a computer that can understand unstructured information, meaning it can look at an image and understand it.
Okay, just understand it is exactly the same thing. So you had to write, so the code would be interpreted, it would be compiled, and it would be working, right? So you did the translation to code. Here, there's the same relation, but instead of you writing the code, you write in natural language, and there's already a translation in the model from natural language to coding language, and then you have the rest of the regular process. But it has nothing magical about it. It's nothing crazy. The same rules that you had to respect are still existing, and there's association made for your natural language for these rules. So if you say, I would like this to happen if this value is X, or if this value is Y. In your language, you're presenting the conditions. So there's an association where you would have a conditional loop right here. There's nothing crazy about it.
It could look at text and understand it. It's completely unstructured. It could listen to sound and understand it, understand the meaning of it, understand the structure of it.
And also, there's no understanding here. This is just the reinforced learning human feedback. So it was some way, people did some associations, but there's no understanding here. Okay.
And reason about what to do about it.
This
And so,
either
for the first time,
no understanding,
we
no
now have a
reasoning.
computer that is not pre-recorded, but it's processed in real time, meaning that it's able to take the context of the circumstance, whatever the environmental information, the contextual information, and whatever information you give it, it could reason about what is the meaning of that information and reason about your intent, which could be described in a really
No
unstructured
reasoning.
way. You describe it however you want to describe it. We call it prompts, but you describe it however you like to describe it. And to the extent that it can understand your intention, it could perform a task for you. Now, the important thing about this is that because we're
It doesn't. It doesn't understand anything. It's just if you give proper instructions, it's going to be able to do accordingly.
reinventing that entire computing stack The question is, what is AI? You're asked, when you think about AI, you think about the AI models. But it's really important to understand industrially, AI is actually essentially a 5-layer cake. At the bottom is energy.
So AI is not artificial intelligence anymore. Now it's a 5-layer cake.
AI, because it's processed in real time and it generates intelligence in real time.
A computer is a 5-layer cake because you got power, you got computing, you got memory, you got its casing, and then you got you that has to press the power button. Fucking moron.
Time, it needs energy to do so. Energy is the first layer. The second layer is the layer that I live in. It's chips and computing infrastructure. The next layer above it is the cloud infrastructure, the cloud services. The layer above
That's
that
all
is
AI.
the AI models. This is where most people think AI is. But don't forget that in order for those models to happen, you have to have all of the layers underneath it.
Yes, a car is not a car. A car is a set of wheels. A car is a powertrain, the transmission. A car is an engine. You should never forget that. Are you fucking stupid?
But the most important layer, and this is the layer that's happening right now, the reason why last year was an incredible year, frankly, for AI, is that the AI models made so
If it was such a great year, why did you guys all fall so short of all the predictions that you made? Nobody forced you to do all these stupid ass predictions. 100% of the code is going to be written by AI. 50% of the workforce is going to be uh, gone because of AI. You guys are talking out of your ass all the fucking time.
much progress that the layer above it, which is ultimately the layer that we all need to succeed, the application layer above that. And so this application layer could be in financial services, it could be in healthcare, it could be in manufacturing. This layer on top ultimately is where economic benefit will happen. But the important thing, though,
Okay, because the layer on top, the economic benefit, that is also AI, which is also a layer inside of the cake. Fucking idiot. What the fuck?
because this computing platform requires all of the layers underneath it, it has started, and you guys are, everybody's seeing it right now, it has started the largest infrastructure build out in human history. We're now a few $100 billion into it.
That's it.
We're a few $100 billion into it. Larry and I, we get the opportunity to work on many projects together. There are trillions of dollars of infrastructure that needs to be built out, and the sense of
That needs to be built out. This was just decided last year, right? What the fuck? What the fuck? Why does it need to be built out? Because they know that if they do big enough, it's going to be just good enough for it to replace most people. But make no mistake, there's no intelligence here. This is just a whole bunch of shit. And they might not even have enough money to build the things that they want to build, which is so ironic. We just saw SoftBank, Oracle, and OpenAI fall like $48 billion short of what they said that they would be able to put in all at once. So they're all psychotic. Fucking Zuckerberg that says he wants to spend $600 billion in the next like 5 years. These guys are absolutely insane.
it's sensible because all of these
It is so sensible that you have investment firms pulling out and questioning the veracity or the authenticity of the discourse that is going to become profitable. Nobody trusts you guys anymore.
contexts have to be processed. so that the AI, so that the models can generate the intelligence necessary
Why didn't you just keep it with AI? Because even in his mind, AI is not accomplished yet. What we have right now is just models. But the thing is, even with those big ass data centers, it's not gonna change anything. It is still the same concept. There's still the same models. No intelligence here.
to power the applications that ultimately sit on top. And so when you go back and when you reason about it layer by layer by layer, and you realize that the energy sector is now seeing extraordinary growth. The chip sector, TSMC just announced they're going to build 20 new chip plants.
Yeah, the energy sector is not even going to be able to handle what they're trying to do. So, I don't know. The power grid is not meant for this growth here. So it is very, very, very weird what they're trying to do.
Foxconn working with us and Wistron and Quanta building 30 new computer plants, which then go into these AI factories. So we have chip factories, computer factories, and AI factories all being built around the world.
And memory.
And memory, right, exactly. Those chip fabs. Micron has started investing $200 billion in the United States. SK Hynix is doing incredibly. Samsung is doing incredibly. You could see that in
Make no mistake, this has nothing to do with you. This is not for you. This is for AI. All these investments, they're not going to do anything for you. You're not going to get GPUs. You're not going to get RAM at a sensible price. This is not for you.
entire chip layer growing incredibly today. And now, of course, we pay a lot of attention to the model layer, but it's really exciting that the layer above them is really doing fantastically. And now, one indicator is where the VC funding going into. Last year, 2025, was one of the largest years in VC funding ever. And last year, most of the funding went to what is called AI native companies. These are companies in healthcare, they're company in robotics, and company in manufacturing, financial services. All of the large industries in the world, you're seeing huge investments going in to those AI natives because for the first time, the models are good enough to build on top of.
Really? For the first time? So, why were you talking out of your ass the past 2, 3 years? What happened? This is still a lie. This is not true. Nobody's gonna run this in finances if it's gonna have hallucinations, if it's gonna make mistakes. Are you insane? Are you dense?
So let's just dive a little further. Obviously, everybody, I'm sure, uses their own chatbot and getting information. So, but you're talking
Do you even know how a computer works, old man?
this version of AI is going to be the key. Let's talk about it like.
Do you see the distinction? This version of AI, so it is not AI. Fuck. The way that they talk, they have these Freudian slips. It is crazy.
Go into a little more upside ideas related to the dispersion of it in the physical world. You mentioned, obviously, healthcare is a great example of that. But where do you see the transformational opportunities in areas like transportation or science?
Well, last year, I would say last year, I would say three major things happened in AI, in the AI technology layer, the model layer. The first one is that the models themselves started out being curious and interesting, but they hallucinated a great deal. And last year, we can all reasonably accept that these models are better grounded. They could do research. They can reason about circumstances that maybe they weren't trained on, break it.
Doesn't say that there's no hallucination here.
down into step-by-step reasoning steps and come up with a plan to answer your question, do your research, or perform the task. So last year, we saw the evolution of language models becoming AI systems that we call agentic systems, agentic AI. The second major breakthrough is the breakthrough of open models.
They're not
Several years
breakthroughs.
ago, was it a year ago, DeepSeek came out?
Last year.
And DeepSeek was, a lot of people were quite concerned about it. Frankly, DeepSeek was a huge event for most of the industries, most of the companies around the world, because it's the world's first open reasoning model. Since then, a whole bunch of open reasoning models have emerged, and open models has enabled companies and industries, researchers, educators, universities, startups, to be able to use these open models to start something and create something that's domain specific or specialized for their needs. The third area that had enormous progress last year was the concept of physical intelligence, of physical AI.
So still no answer on how this is going to progress transportation and the other
AI
thing.
that understands not just language, but AI understands, if you will, nature. And it could be AI that understands the physical world here, AIs that understand proteins, chemicals, natural physics of physics, for example, fluid dynamics, particle physics, quantum physics, AIs that are now learning all these different structures and different languages, if you will. Proteins is essentially
Learning
a
is a big
language.
word.
And so all of these
Oh, okay. This is perfect. This is keyword because it's coming out from this pieces of shit mouth. Let's listen to it again.
languages, if you will. Proteins is essentially a language.
Protein is essentially a language. So it's not just protein, okay? Everything is essentially a language, and that's why you see these applications on everything. So music is one type of language. To speak proper music, you have to do proper chords. You have to express yourself the correct way. So there are rules to do that, and there's a lot of example in the world. You have a lot of music. Images, exactly the same thing. You you could translate images to meaning by word association, which is still the reinforced learning human feedback part of the AI training. And so this is done by humans. It is the actual association. It is good, it is bad, it is reinforced by humans. And so the fact that everything is language is key here to not let yourself be blatantly lied to. It doesn't have like all these crazy applications. Essentially, it's just that everything is absorbed the same way. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully, it does. But the fact that he said protein is essentially language, that's very interesting. Because you just have something and you do the association, but it's not going to come up with something new. It's not going to happen. We saw you're going to have model collapse. Very, very, very crazy.
And so all of these AIs are now making such enormous progress that these industries, industrial companies, whether it's manufacturing or drug discovery, are really making great progress. And one of the great indicators is a partnership that we had with Lilly, that they realize now that AI has made such extraordinary progress in understanding the structure of proteins and the structure of chemicals, essentially be able to interact and talk to the proteins like we talk to ChatGPT, we're going to see some really big breakthroughs.
So all these breakthroughs raises concerns about the human element. You and I have had many conversations on this, but we need to tell the whole audience there is a huge concern that
We
AI is
need to
going to
tell
displace
the
jobs.
whole audience.
And you've been arguing the opposite. Obviously, the build out of AI, as you talked about, the biggest infrastructure build out in history is going to occur, which
Energy is creating jobs.
Yeah.
Chips industry is creating jobs. The infrastructure layer is creating jobs. Land power.
This is a whole bunch of shit. Infrastructure, you're gonna set it once and then it's done. The same thing with the building, the construction, the data centers. They've shown that it has nothing to do. OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle, they said that their $100 billion investment was going to create about 100,000 jobs. So far, $52 billion in, and they've created about 7,000 jobs. So they fall so short.
And shell, jobs. I mean, right? It's incredible.
That's
let's
not
get into a
true.
little more detail. So you actually believe we're going to face labor shortages. And so how do you see that AI and robotics changing the nature of work rather than eliminating it?
Yeah, there's several different ways that we could think through it. First of all, this is the largest
None of them who are
infrastructure
applicable,
build-out in
most
human
likely.
history. That's gonna create a lot of jobs, and it's wonderful
Okay, already
that
fake.
the jobs are related to tradecraft.
So fake. So only during the construction phase. Afterwards, there's a huge drop in employment. We've seen that even these very, very big data centers, you only need about 100 people to run them. So what he's saying right now is just wrong.
And we're going to have plumbers and electricians and construction and steel.
Yeah, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Are you gonna need those people throughout the life cycle of the data center? How full of shit are you?
Workers and network technicians and people who install and fit out the equipment and
Yeah, because every single day, once the data center is gonna be over, uh, all these peoples are gonna come back to work. They're gonna keep fitting. They're gonna keep checking the plumbing. They're gonna build new walls inside the offices. Eventually, after a couple of years, it's gonna look like a labyrinth. But at least these people are still gonna be employed.
all of these jobs, we're going to, in the United States, we're seeing quite a significant boom in this area. Salaries have gone up, nearly doubled.
You know what else? Energy prices for the people that live around there. They're gonna subsidize the power costs. That's gonna be pretty nasty. Did I bring this shit too far down?
And so we're talking about six-figure salaries for people who are building chip factories or computer factories or AI factories. And we have a great
Right.
shortage in that. And I'm really delighted to see so many people and so many
I'm sure he's delighted about the shortage.
countries really recognizing this important area. Everybody should be able to make a great living. You don't need to have a PhD in computer science to do so. And so I'm delighted to see that.
That used to be the American dream.
Second thing to realize, and so we theorize about the automation of tasks and things like that, and what is the implication to jobs. I'll just offer some anecdotes. These are real world anecdotes of what has actually happened. Remember 10 years ago, one of the first professions that everybody thought was going to get wiped out was radiology. And the reason for that was the first AI that became superhuman in capability was computer vision. And one of the largest applications of computer vision is studying scans by radiologists. Well, 10 years later, it is true that AI has now completely permeated and diffused into every aspect of radiology.
That is true. If you go into any hospital, any clinic, You're gonna see everything is controlled by AI now. That makes so much sense.
And it is true that radiologists use AI to study scans now. The
All of
impact is
them.
100%, and the impact is
Do you see these statements? How fucking stupid is he?
completely real. However, not surprisingly, I say not surprisingly, if you reason from first principles, not surprisingly, the number of radiologists have gone up.
Is that because of lack of trust of, or is that
No.
because the
How? Where does he get these metrics? Honestly,
human interaction with the results of AI
Exactly.
is a better outcome?
Exactly. The reason for that is because a radiologist, their job, the purpose of their job is to diagnose disease, to help patients diagnose disease. That's the purpose of their job. The task of the job includes studying scans. The fact that they're able to study scans now infinitely fast allows them to spend more time with patients, diagnosing their disease, interacting with the patients, interacting with other clinicians. Well,
but isn't by. Hold on, hold on. Their job is to interpret the medical images. It's not to speak with the patients.
surprisingly, also not surprisingly, actually, as a result of that, the number of patients that the hospital can see has gone up because there are a lot of people waiting a long time to get
Surprisingly,
their scans done. And
unsurprisingly,
so now, because the
what
number of patients
hospital?
have gone up, the revenues of the hospital has gone up, they hire more radiologists. This is the same thing as happening to nurses. We're 5 million nurses short in the United States. As a result of using AI to do the charting and the
This is a poor people issue, so I'm gonna exaggerate here my engagement towards it.
transcription of the patient visits, nurses spend half of their time charting.
Documenting.
And now they could use AI technology, and one particular company, Abridge, a partner of ours, doing incredible work. As a result of that, the nurses could spend more time visiting patients.
Human touch.
That's right. And because you could now see more patients, and we're no longer less bottlenecked by the number of nurses, more patients could get into the hospital.
Where is this
sooner. As a
fantastic
result,
place he's talking about?
hospitals do better, they hire more nurses. And so, surprisingly, AI is increasing their not surprisingly, AI is increasing their
Again. Okay, so this was practice, right? That was inside of the speech. That's why you said it twice, because otherwise you wouldn't make that stupid mistake. Bro, you should shove a fucking 5090 up your butt.
As a result, the hospitals are doing better.
You're gonna do better.
You have too
Have
many
better
people waiting too long
performances.
to get into hospitals. And so these are two perfect examples. Now, the easiest way to think about what is the impact of AI on a particular job is to understand whether the job, what is the purpose of the job, and what is the task of the job. If you just put a camera on the two of us and just watched us, you would probably think the two of us are typists because I spend all of my time typing. And so if AI could automate so much word prediction and help us type, then we would be out of jobs. But obviously, that's not our purpose. And so the question is, what is the purpose of your job? In the case of radiologists and nurses, is to care for people, and that purpose is enhanced
Is
and made
it?
more
Because
productive because the task has been.
I think it did say that it was to interpret the images and do diagnostics based on imaging.
Has automated. And so to the extent that you can reason about each one of the people's purpose versus the task, I think it's a helpful framework.
Let's let's move this beyond the developed economies. Help me understand how AI is it to broaden the world and help the world.
How are we going to be able to exploit the rest of the world with this shit here? Let us know.
I read an Anthropic piece this past weekend that basically said the utilization of AI most recently is very dominant by the educated society.
Yes, because it's the only people who can afford a fucking $200 USD subscription a month.
And they're even seeing the educated component of each society being heavily more utilized. And obviously they're using it against their own model Claude, so it may have its own biases. So how do we ensure that AI is a transformational technology, maybe like what Wi-Fi and 5G was for the emerging world? And when you intersect that, what does it mean for the emerging world? And John, how do we broaden the global economy? And two, getting back to the whole job situation with robotics and AI, there is going to be some substitution there. And there's substitution in the United States already going on. We may be creating more plumbers and electricians, but we probably need less analysts at financial institutions. Lawyers need less because they're able to accumulate the data faster. So let's just pivot on to the emerging world for a second, in the developing world. How do you see that play out?
Well, first of all, AI is infrastructure, and there's not one country in the world, I can't imagine, that you need to have AI as part of your infrastructure, because every country has its electricity, you have your roads, you should have AI as part of your infrastructure. Of course, you could always import AI, but AI is not so incredibly hard to train these days, and because there are so many open models, these open models with your local expertise, you should be able to create models that are helpful to your own country. And so I really believe that every country should get involved to build AI infrastructure, build your own AI, take advantage of your fundamental natural resource, which is your language and culture, develop your AI, continue to refine it, and have your national intelligence be part of your.
It's so good. Because instead of having like one centralized super intelligent AI, as they said that we were supposed to have, maybe not centralized, but at least super intelligent, since this is not going to be happening anytime soon, the the other thing that you can do is just run a fucking model. So everybody, every single country should buy NVIDIA GPUs to run one of these open models. How about that? That would be a great plan for you guys
Part of your ecosystem.
if you all
And so
buy
I think that's number one. And number
GPUs.
two, remember, AI is super easy to use. It's the easiest software to use in history, and that's the reason why it's the
It's
fastest
not
growing and
software.
most rapidly adopted. I mean,
No, the reason why it has the fastest adoption rate compared to other things is because it is not infrastructure. The infrastructure was already there. You already had access to the internet, and the only difference that you had was you needed to make an account on a fucking web page. Has nothing to do with the internet adoption, where people had to buy a computer, buy an internet subscription. There's nothing crazy here. That's what this is, highly exaggerated.
in just a couple of 2-3 years, it's coming up to almost a billion people. I think, first of all, Claude is incredible. Anthropic has made a huge progress, huge leap in developing Claude.
Yep.
We use it all over our company. The coding capability of Claude, its reasoning capability, its ability is just really incredible. And anybody who's a software company really ought to get involved and use it. On the other hand, ChatGPT is probably the most successful consumer AI in history. And its ease of use and its approachability, I think everybody should get involved. And whether
Aren't they all
it's
the same?
somebody in a developing country or a student, It is very clear that it is essential to learn how to use AI, how to direct an AI, how to prompt an AI, how to
But isn't it like a contradiction? He was saying that this is the easiest software to use, even though this is not a software, because you can just talk to it. And now he's saying learn how to use it. So is it that it is so easy that anybody can use it, or you need to learn to use it? This guy, he's saying so much shit all the fucking time that none of what he says makes sense at all.
manage an AI, how to guardrail the AI, evaluate the AI. These skills are no different than leading people, managing people, things that you and I do all the time. So in the future, instead of biological, carbon-based AIs, in the future we're also going to have digital versions of AIs, silicon versions of AIs, and we'll have to manage them. They're just part of our digital workforce, if you will. And so I would advocate that for the developing countries, build your infrastructure, get engaged in AI, and recognize that AI is likely to close the technology divide.
Right.
Because it is so easy to use and so abundant and so accessible. And so,
What do you mean, technology divide? Is it gonna show everybody how to refine uranium and how to create hyper intercontinental hyperballistic missiles? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm actually fairly optimistic about the potential of AI to lift.
Yeah, because of the way that you're setting up everything, is as if the infrastructure had to be built on the product that you're selling. So
The countries that are emerging, and for many people who haven't had
depending on who you ask, I think there's a little under 200 to over 210 countries. So let's say there's 100 countries that want to do that. They have enough money. If they all build $100 billion dollar data centers, it's gonna make a lot of money for this little piece of shit right
computer
here.
science degree, all of you can be programmers now, And so in the past, we had to learn how to program a computer.
Yeah, vibe code. You're gonna see a lot of vibe coding, such as Microsoft that says that they're using AI for about 30% of the code that they produce. And they have the most bugs that they've ever had before. This, it just makes so much sense.
Now you program a computer by saying to the computer, how do I program you?
Is that it? Or you have to learn how to talk to an AI? Why 1 second is super easy, 1 second is super complicated, and then super easy? You are a grifter.
And if you don't know how to use an AI, just go up to the AI and say, I don't know how to use an AI. How do I use an AI? And it would explain
So why do you say you got to learn to use it? What the fuck?
it to you. And you say, I like to write a program to create my own website. How do I do that? And it would ask you a whole bunch of questions about what kind of website you would like to build, and then write you the code. And so it is that easy to use, and that's, of course, the incredible power of AI, which is exciting.
Two quick questions, then we're going to run out of time. We're sitting here in Europe. When we were talking about a lot of companies, we mentioned a lot of US companies and Asian companies. Talk to us about how AI and the success of Europe and the future of Europe can intersect, and how do you see NVIDIA play that role here in Europe?
But he already talked about the developing countries.
Well, I have the benefit. NVIDIA has the benefit of working with every AI company in the world, and because we're low in the infrastructure layer, and we power AI across the board, and we power AI that are languages, their biology, their physics, their world models, and related to manufacturing and robotics, and the thing that's really quite exciting for Europe is, remember, your industrial base is so strong. the industrial manufacturing base in Europe is incredibly strong. This is your opportunity to now leap past the era of software. The United States really led the era of software. AI is software that doesn't need to write software. You don't write AI, you teach AI. And so get in early now so that you can now
Do you teach AI or does it learn on its own? What is it, buddy?
fuse your industrial capability, your manufacturing capability with artificial intelligence, and that brings you into the world of physical AI or robotics. Robotics is a once in a generation opportunity for the European nations. Now, whether it's all of the countries that I visit here, industrial base is really really strong. The other thing to realize is that so much of the deep sciences are still very very strong here in Europe. Right. And the deep sciences now have the benefit of applying artificial intelligence to accelerate your discovery. And so I think that it's fairly certain that you have to get serious about increasing your energy supply so that you could invest in the infrastructure layer so that you could have a rich ecosystem of artificial intelligence here in Europe.
So what I'm hearing is we're far from an AI bubble. The question is, are we
Oh,
investing
wow. That is quite the conclusion to jump to. Bro, you had that one locked and loaded?
enough? Let's
The
turn it
fuck?
around because there's so many people talking about
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. Uh, what he said now is that you're gonna get fucked because you're not a company. If you were an AI company, maybe you're gonna be okay. There's no bubble, but you're gonna live your life inside of that second economy, the shit economy, the one that has the consequences, not the imaginary AI economy. That is insane. This guy here is a fucking demon. They're all monsters.
a bubble, but the question is, what I'm hearing from you is, are we investing enough to do
No fucking way. We need to invest more. We need to put more money. Let's get it. Everybody has to put their pennies together to chip in, guys.
what we need to do to broaden the global economy?
And so one good test on the
Because it is for the global economy.
AI bubble
Fuck.
is to recognize that NVIDIA has now millions of NVIDIA GPUs in the cloud. We're in every cloud, we're used everywhere. And if you try to rent an NVIDIA GPU these days, it's so incredibly hard. And the spot price of GPU rentals is
Spot price? Bro, are you talking? This is not gold, you fucking piece of
going
shit.
up. Not just the latest generation, but 2 generation old GPUs.
So, okay, so that's not a bubble. Bro.
The spot price of rentals are going up. And the reason for that is because the number of AI companies that are being created, the number of companies shifting their R&D budget. Lilly is a great example. 3 years ago, most of their
Beautiful.
R&D budget
So it is going to be impossible. I mean, the newest PC hardware that you're going to be able to afford is going to be outdated hardware. That's how nasty it's looking.
all of their R&D budget was probably wet labs. Notice the big AI supercomputer that they've invested in, the big AI lab. Increasingly, that R&D budget is going to shift towards AI. And so
Yeah, so companies with thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars are going to uh, keep flooding the market with demand. The supply is going to be constrained. There's somebody I saw on Reddit today that said he did not believe that this was going to go up until 2029. Guys, look at this piece of shit that he's talking. Look at the projection he's making. Look at this other dried up shit, Larry Fink. What he said. Oh shit, I think we need to invest more. Bro, this conversation here is a PR stunt just to get more money going. This is absolutely gross.
I'm in danger.
The AI bubble is comes about because the investments are large, and the investments are large because we have to build the infrastructure necessary for all of the layers of AI above it. And so I think the opportunity is really quite extraordinary, and everybody ought to get involved. Everybody ought to get engaged. We
Eh,
need more energy. I think that.
do you like to live vicariously, dangerously, invest in AI?
Recognize that. We need more land power in Shell. We need more trade skill workers. And in fact, that population of workforce is so strong here in Europe.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, the United States lost that in the last 20, 30 years. But it's
Damn.
still incredibly strong here in
My
Europe.
guy's shitting,
It's an
yeah.
extraordinary opportunity you ought to
But
take
no
advantage of.
shame.
And so I would, I know that where Larry and I work, we see the investment opportunities and the investment scale is going up. The number of startups, as I mentioned earlier, that 2025, the largest investment year in VC history.
Yeah, but you also have people who are pulling back. You got Blue Owl, who said that they're not down to fuck around with the Oracle anymore. They pulled $10 billion. This is looking good. There's no way this is gonna crash.
Over $100 billion around the world, most of it was AI natives. And so these AI companies are building basically the application layer above. And they're going to need infrastructure. They're going to need our investment, and go build this future.
And I actually believe it's going to be a great investment for pension funds around the world to be.
My boy Larry Fink on glazing mode. Bro, wipe your mouth.
A part of that, to grow with this AI world. And this is one of
Right,
my
right.
messages.
Pension funds, that's great. Can you imagine all your fucking aunties, your uncles, your mommy, your daddy, all living in the fucking street because AI went crashing down? Look at this piece of shit. He doesn't care. He's gonna die. He's gonna die soon. Do you know who perfected this play? My boy Jack Welch from General Electric. He threw everything to shit. He made a whole bunch of money. These were very short-term gains, but he lived his life to the fullest and he died without seeing any of the consequences. This piece of shit here, most likely trying to do the same thing. These are fucking devil people. They're demons. They should be exorcised.
So many political leaders, we need to make sure that the average pensioner, the average saver, is a part of that growth. If they're just watching it from the sidelines, they're going to feel left out.
And we want.
Do you understand the signal he's trying to push? If you manage pension funds, you should invest into AI because you're going to be left out. They're trying to get more money into it because nobody's going full throttle right now and they need it. They need it because it's looking more and more like this is going to be the make or break round. They're going to go all in because there's not going to be another round afterwards because it's always orders of magnitudes. So it has to be order of magnitudes, more of investment, more money, more compute. It has to be so much more. This is going to be pretty freaking disgusting.
To invest in infrastructure.
Right.
Infrastructure is a great investment opportunity. This is the single largest infrastructure build-out in human history. Get involved.
Nobody
Out
asked
of
for
time.
that.
Hopefully everybody
Nobody
in the audience
cares.
and everybody on the web streaming is seeing
Go fuck
the
yourself with this
power of
like this.
Jensen Huang as a
The
leader.
power of being a whole piece of shit, man. You guys are fucking disgusting.
Hello, peasants.
Oh, man. You're gross. Looking at you, it makes me want to go choo-choo and poo-poo. All right, guys.